Hello again, my little Luxes. Welcome to another little channel of horrors. Uh, I'm your host, Darcy Lux, and here with me is my partner in crime.
DC Joe Bob.
I guess what was the name you dubbed me? Darcy Lux today.
Darcy Lux or Charcy the male girl, whichever one.
Mm-hmm. Or Charcy the male girl.
Yeah.
So obviously, today is a very special day. Technically, we're recording on Saturday, but we are posting on Sunday, and today is Darcy the male girl's birthday. So in celebration of her birthday,
happy 21st.
Yes, happy 21st, and many more 21st to come. We understand way too well.
Yeah.
But we wanted to celebrate Darcy's birthday by, of course, one, cosplaying as Darcy and Joe Bob from The Last Drive-In.
Well, I wasn't going to cosplay as Charles or Darcy.
I mean, we could have flip-flopped. It could have been interesting. I mean, I would have been all for it.
I haven't got the magnificent chest she has. So
I don't either. Do you know how much I had to hike these girls up? I do not have her amazing breasts.
I mean, you have a nice rack too, but hers are I'm pretty sure Elon Musk is after hers because hers are out of this world.
I was gonna say, isn't he a multi-billionaire now?
It was more of a space joke, but I was trying to do a Joe Bob pun.
Oh God, and it went right over my head. That seems fitting.
Yeah. It's okay. I even did the Kermit.
Kermit, it's fitting for our show now at this point. I think and I have the perfect mug that no one's going to be able to read, but I came, I saw, I made it awkward. So
yes, you do.
The other thing that we were doing in celebration of Darcy's birthday is that the film that we chose is her favorite horror movie, which her number one favorite horror movie is 1996's Scream.
I think she told Chris Jericho that that's her favorite movie, period.
Favorite movie, period.
Favorite movie,
even
period.
Better
than. But I think that interview was a few years ago, so it may have changed.
Okay, so it wasn't the current one. So.
Yes, that was yeah, because I'm a massive fan of Chris Jericho. So, I mean, I'll be like singing Judas at the top of my lungs down the street. This cowboy hat is reflective. Look at this. It's crazy.
You're going to get the blue flares that we kept seeing in Scream while we were watching it, which you had a very interesting fact about that. I've never known that. I've never known about the lens flare.
Yes, lens flare. J.J. Abrams made it popular.
Of course he would.
Yeah, he's like, when his Star Trek came out, they called it Star Trek: The Wrath of the Lens Flare. It's crazy. I mean, he does a lot of lens flare, but his is on purpose. Like I'm not sure that this was on purpose. No. It was just like they couldn't find that angle, and the sun was just at the right thing to hit that lens and cause the light to shoot across. And it's like, hey, look, there's some lens flare, and it's kind of distracting in the scene, but I mean, it's okay. It's a great movie.
And I think it was only like a couple scenes where it was, and the only part that was prevalent was in front of the school when Gail and Nev Campbell's character were talking.
Sydney. When the teenagers are talking to the thing, because these people were supposed to be 17 in these movies, and they look all of 33. It's like Beverly Hills 90210 all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah,
literally.
It's a movie though. You got to have some suspension of disbelief. So.
And I had even told you several times before, I'm like, I love the fact that the parody Scary Movie makes fun of that, and the fact that it's like, oh, why don't we have a movie where everybody's a teenager, but they're all played by like 30-year-olds. So
you got and then the other suspension of disbelief was The House. Sydney's house. It's unbelievable, and it's like a single father. So, and we were just sitting there like, what does he do to deserve to pay for this house?
Job?
Yeah, but I mean, you had
the view.
Yeah, you had a good point. Like, the wife just died. She probably had some life insurance or something.
Yeah, and that was the only thing I could come up with. I'm like, A, he probably does have a good job. I don't think they ever hit on it or talk about it. And I'm like, well, it depends on the life insurance because I mean, the her mother was murdered,
Yeah.
so of course they would have gotten life insurance for that. So, which of course the mother's murder is very important to the film. Which
Yeah.
you had mentioned that that there are technically 8 deaths in the movie. And going through it, there were only 7.
Yeah.
But then you would remember that one was technically off screen, and it's like, are they including the mother's death?
And they also
Which
don't go into how she died. They just say that she was killed. In the
mhm.
second one, they go further into it. They
And they explain,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, when they're going through Stab, and in Stab they talk about how Maureen died, and like it's like she's stabbed in the crotch and stabbed in the heart and all that. They go into it. It's crazy.
I was gonna say way more brutal than we think about it. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
but, but yeah, the house was incredible. Just learned recently that the house at the end of the movie, where of course the main scenes start happening, most of the deaths, or where the party's at, I guess would be the easiest way to put it, is that it was actually a house that they just found for the set, and it was perfect for the market because they said it was a very creepy house to begin with. It was an almost unfinished house because unfortunately the couple who was in the process of building this house passed away. So they just kind of ended up with this house super cheap, and they said it just kind of had a creepy vibe to it anyways. So you get this really big house that you have Sydney and your dad live in, and then you have this other cool house that it's like, oh, it's got this like sad backstory to it.
Yeah.
And I think even Matthew Lillard himself had said that this house was like really cool, but he goes, it just had this creepy vibe to it. So it just kind of worked for the atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, and it was shot in California, so that's just
Mm-hmm.
like Santa Barbara. So it's like you're in the rich
Beautiful
neighborhoods.
area. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, that's good. And I mean, it's still like even with that, it's not really about that. The movie itself is fantastic. So it's like, I mean,
Yes.
you got everything in this movie. So you got garage door foo. You got everything in this movie. It's fantastic. I love Anne Rose McGowan's awesome nipples.
Yes. We don't unfortunately get nudes, or
No
unfortunately we don't
nudity.
get breasts in this either, but the
Oh,
closest you get is Rose McGowan's very perky boobs in
yeah.
the garage scene. So
Yeah. Wes Craven apparently was not a fan of nudity because he doesn't do nudity in a lot of his movies. So, but he was a big fan of Clerks because Clerks is plastered all over this movie. It's like there's Clerks posters in the scene where they're watching all the horror movies. You see the Clerks box on the VCR, and it's like, oh, he liked Clerks. That's a good thing because Clerks is awesome.
yes.
Well, and
I
then
think you had mentioned
Kevin Smith was in Kevin Smith and Jay Muse was in Scream 3. So
oh yeah, they were. Yeah, I forgot about that. But I think you had even mentioned that he's a huge Kevin Smith fan. So
yes, yeah, he loved Wes Craven apparently loved Clerks, and he didn't even further into it. Read into it. He didn't even ask. He just threw the posters up, and of course Kevin Smith said, yeah, all right, thanks, man, free publicity. All right.
I was gonna say I don't think anyone would complain about that, especially how big Scream ended up being anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
And
he sort of did the same thing with Sam Raimi and Evil Dead, like in Night of the Living Dead, or not Living Dead, Nightmare on Elm Street. They were watching.
I'm spreading.
They were watching Evil Dead, and in Evil Dead, there's a poster for The Hills Have Eyes. So it's like Wes Craven and Sam Raimi would go back and forth with each other. So it's like that's kind of cool. They're bros. They're horror movie bros.
Mm-hmm. And you and I had mentioned like we kind of liked those little Easter eggs that we would find, and of course, what the most famous Easter egg that technically should be well known in the movie is the scene when the principal goes out into the hallway And of course, you have a very Freddy Krueger-esque looking character that's the janitor. And
Sorry, Fred.
who played the janitor there, DC?
Oh, Wes Craven. Sorry,
Yeah.
Fred. His name was Fred. The janitor's name was Fred. He said, "Sorry, Fred." He's even wearing the Freddy Krueger sweater, and it's the original Freddy Krueger sweater. It's not the sequels. The original Freddy Krueger sweater was the green and red stripes, but just red sleeves. He didn't have green and red on the street. That didn't show up until the second, third, fourth, fifth, all those. So it was the original sweater.
Original.
Super cool.
That's cool though.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And I never put two and two together to know that it was actually Wes Craven. I knew I'd heard from like extras that Wes Craven was in the film at some point, but it makes sense he would be the Freddy Krueger character.
Yeah. I mean, you've got everything, man, in this movie. You've got Freddy. You've got the death of Fonzie. It's
the
awesome. The Fonz. Hey. It'd be great if he was getting killed going, hey, you know, that'd be pretty cool. Or jumping a shark and getting killed. That'd be nice. So,
one or the other, you know.
Oh yeah, garage door kills where her head turns into like a Barbie doll and squishes like plastic, and it's like,
you can tell out why I couldn't tell. You kept, when the scene first started and she first went on the garage, and you kept saying like Barbie doll. And I didn't get it at first. And then as soon as the garage door opened, I'm like, oh yeah, it does kind of look like a Barbie doll head being like smashed right up against the,
Oh no, Mr. Ghost.
Such a great death though. I mean, Rose McGowan did a phenomenal job. And
she always does. But I mean, she's the one who got to name the killer, because she was the first one to call him Ghostface. She's, no, Mr. Ghostface, I want to be in the sequel. So it's like she got to name, that's how he became Ghostface.
It's because of that.
Because in the when they find the packaging, when they find the packaging of
the Halloween costume,
it's something like Demon Face or something like that. It's something weird, but call him Ghostface. But I was saying, like, that's the Ghostface is the biggest wuss of all the killers, because he gets beat up in every single movie. There's not one person he like kills that doesn't get one shot in on him. It's like, even Drew Barrymore got a shot in on him. It's like, all right, cool. And like Sydney just beat his ass through the whole thing. I'm like, this is great. Wow, he's getting his ass kicked.
More realistic though, like especially when knowing that it's just a couple of teens that just decided that they were bored and they wanted to do this horrible thing. Although we find out later on in the movie that the boy Billy technically had motive. Although I guess I should say boy, considering he
motive
was 23 when he made this. Yeah.
Stu even he's looking at him like, wait a second, you didn't tell me this part, dude.
Yeah, I that was the first time I ever noticed that before, that Matthew Lillard's character is like sitting there like, dude, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I found a first too, which I felt ashamed that I just noticed it for the first time. But Linda Blair is in the movie. She's a quick cameo as a reporter, and I'm like, oh my god, Linda Blair! And then I'm like going online. It's apparently a thing, and I'm like, how did I not know that? I'm like a massive fan of Linda Blair. I hate The Exorcist, and I'm still a massive fan of Linda Blair.
I was gonna say we were just talking up Rose McGowan, and it's like she's amazing too. So
yes, I love
nice little cameo.
Yeah, Rose McGowan's that's my girl. I love her. She is so awesome. I mean, she's a little now, but like she's still cool. And then she shaved her. I think she has the pixie cut now, but she shaved her head bald for a while.
Grown out.
I'm like, there's not many women that can pull that off, and she's not one of them. So Natalie Portman pulled it off.
To each their own. Yeah, Natalie Portman is one of those people that she could pull it off.
Yeah, and Sigourney Weaver.
Yes,
Sigourney Weaver nailed it.
Pull it off as well.
Oh yeah, and that chick from Black Panther, Lupa, whatever, I forget her name.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say she looks phenomenal without hair. But so, how many like cameos did they technically have in this film? It's like now
all I saw was Linda. and Wes.
That would have been the most like recognizable. So, but I mean, back then, some of those people might have been more. But I mean, the fact, like you said, the Fonz was the principal. How many of this cast was like, this was their opening, like beginning roles? They'd barely done like 1 or 2 films before that. Nev Campbell, I think she did The Craft just before this, which she would have done with
Party of
Steve
Five.
Ulrich as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Matthew Lillard hadn't yet played Shaggy, the role he was meant to play his whole life. Like you could take Scream completely out of his filmography and he'd still be perfect because he is Shaggy. Like that is Shaggy. Skeet Ulrich didn't do much before or after Scream. He went on, he's in Riverdale now, but like he really didn't make a whole lot of movies. He made movies, but none of them were like blockbusters. So Jamie Kennedy went on to do a lot. So, but Jamie Kennedy was self-made. Like he made his own television show and all his own movies, and he's on Robot Chicken all the time. And it's like, yeah.
Then he ended up part of the Tremors franchise. And,
And then you have Nev Campbell, Matthew Lillard, Courtney Cox, of course, was doing Friends. David Arquette would go on to be David Arquette. Speaking of his documentary, You Cannot Kill David Arquette, you have to watch that. It's so freaking good. Oh my god!
You kept mentioning that. You're like, you need to watch it. So I'll have to look it up and see if I can watch it sometime soon.
He's in another short documentary that was about 45 minutes long called the brutality of Nick Gage. Nick Gage was a deathmatch wrestler, and he wrestled David Arquette, and it's a brilliant piece of television history. So I'm like, I love that stuff. But I don't know. I love Dewey is my favorite character in that whole freaking thing, because every scene he is in, it's just, he chews it up. He's just the highlight of the whole movie. Even though I am Randy, but Dewey's still my favorite character. So.
Funny thing that I just found out about too is that when he first originally was going in, they wanted to cast him as Billy, and he came in and he's like, "I want Dewey." So I'm like, and technically his character originally was supposed to be some like really hunky, buff guy. And I'm so glad that they went with this, because Wes Craven even stopped and thought about it. He's like, yeah, let's try his version out. And oh my God, he's a highlight in the whole entire movie. He really is.
Yeah. I mean, and Drew Barrymore was supposed to play Sydney.
So she was originally supposed to be Sydney.
This whole movie was swapped around, because I think I may be wrong on it, but I think Matthew Lillard was supposed to play Randy. Like I may be wrong on that, but like the whole movie was swapped. But I'm glad they got Jamie Kennedy, because Jamie Kennedy, I swear Randy is me. Like that's even watching it when it came out, I was 13. So I watched it the first time when I was like 14. And I mean, I loved it then, but I related to Randy. And then later on, I would become the manager of Blockbuster. And I'm like, I am Randy. I'm that guy that's a dork that can't get the girl, that knows a little too much about horror movies. Like,
just a little too much.
Yeah. I was that absolute dork, because he has that scene whenever Billy goes to prison. He's like, so you think Sydney would, go for a guy, kind of like that little scene. And it's like, that's me. I wanted the popular girl, and then everyone would laugh at me. Like that was me. It's like, oh my God, this sweet cowboy hat and this sweet getup, doesn't, right now I'm just the bee's knees. Like I am Billy right now. I'm the one that everyone wants. But, back then I was Randy.
Randy was always one of my favorites. Yes. But then again,
he's everyone's favorite. I really do.
I love Jamie Kennedy as an actor, and learning that when he went in for the role. So, I mean, it could have been originally thought to be Matthew Lillard,
Yeah.
But I guess when Jamie Kennedy came in to audition for Randy, like the casting crew flat out said, they're like, this is our Randy. We don't need to look anymore. So that could be a possibility. But I mean, Matthew Lillard was made for that part though too. Just how weird and creepy and like I don't even want to call him crazy. It's like exaggerated his character was.
Yeah. Live
But he
alone.
wasn't crazy. He just was a disgruntled teen that was bored.
He was the comic relief killer. Mm-hmm. Like even as he was dying, he was still the funniest thing in the movie. I mean, everyone knows that my mom and dad are going to be so mad at me line. Like,
oh my god!
Yeah. Or you hit me with the phone, Dick. You hit me with the
Mm-hmm.
phone, Dick. Everyone knows that one. I mean, he had like all the best lines. Live her alone, everything, and
leave her alone.
Yeah, I'll be right back. That was in the trailer. Jeez. Like, Lord, I remember the trailer. I even remember the trailer. That was still that was like because it was just a bunch of screaming. Yeah.
And then a huge thing back then.
Yeah, it's just a well-written movie, well directed, well written. Even like the first scene is still. I'm still struggling to think of a better horror movie opening than that. Like that's because it is when you first watch it, like when we watched it last night, it was like, oh, you can see the makeup caked on and the way she's delivering her lines is kind of very Drew Barrymore-esque and stuff like that. But when that movie first came out, that was fucking terrifying. It was like, this is horrific. Like gutting the guy and everything and then stringing her up. It's like, God, dude, this is a absolutely terrifying film. So
and I had just learned from you was that scene was actually filmed a year prior to when the rest of the movie was filmed because they wanted to, I guess, basically auction it out to companies to be like, pick up this film and this is what it's going to be like.
Yeah. And of course, Miramax bought it because, Harvey Weinstein. But it's like, it's just a great movie. It's just a well-written movie. It worked out. It works all the way around. Like I said last night, this is one of the only horror movies in existence with character development. Like there actually is characters that change throughout the movie. I mean, Gail becomes different, Sydney becomes different, Dewey becomes different. I mean, of course, Stu and Billy, like they flip flop. So. The only one that didn't really change was Randy.
Randy was Randy. Poor Randy.
And that is still like, there's polls you can find online, like of what is the one death in horror movies that pisses you off the most. And the top, it's always in the top 5, Randy from Scream 2. No one wanted him to die. And it happened. And then we got his sister.
Make any sense? Yeah.
But whatever. It works. I mean, the first movie just works on and every part. It just works. So it's the movie that brought horror movies back. Like horror was dead. There was nothing coming out. Like we were getting straight to video garbage. And then Wes Craven was like, all right, I'll go back into horror. And Kevin Williamson
try it.
Yeah, Kevin Williamson wrote a masterpiece. And I mean, and they're like, and now almost every horror movie follows suit because it's meta horror movies. That's all it is anymore. So, I mean, you had movies like Cabin in the Woods that were just completely meta. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Like, even Scream 2 was more meta than Scream 1. So it worked. But then we did get a bunch of parodies. And I'm sorry, I'm
scary
not a fan
movies.
of any of the freaking parodies. I hate them all. I hated scary movies so much. Like, this is so horrible.
So bad.
It's not funny, but whatever.
Ironic thing to note, I think the original name for Scream when he wrote it was actually called Scary Movie.
Scary Movie. And I think they said that is not why they named Scary Movie Scary Movie.
that it was just kind of like a weird freak accident, which is kind of cool when you think about it.
Yeah. The Wayans brothers do what they want.
Pretty much.
I don't know. I get a lot of flack because I saw Scary Movie in theaters and I was just sitting there like this the entire time. Like, I just did not find it funny. But I don't really, when it comes to comedy, no one should ever, ever, ever take my advice on comedy movies. I am funny and I can make you laugh, but I don't like comedy movies. And I find Will Ferrell to be one of the funniest dudes. So,
I was gonna say, which blows my mind.
Yeah. I'll watch a comedy and I just won't laugh. So, I mean, there are some that'll make me crack up, but it has to be some pretty intelligent humor, and Scary Movie was not intelligent humor. So, and I also like ad-libbing. So.
Yeah, ad-libbing is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Well, creative ad-libbers anyways. There's some of them that are really bad out there, but
like Will Ferrell and stuff like that. Like they're hilarious when they ad-lib. Paul Rudd is is a genius when he ad-libs. So I'm like, I love stuff like that. But no, it just didn't hit me. But like with the other Scream movies, like, the thing about me and the other Scream movies, the sequels, is I'm not the hugest fan of any of the sequels because they are literally the same movie. It's like people are dying, but they're after Sydney, and the killer just turns out to be someone related to Sydney. It's like, come on, man.
Related to Sydney or related to
not as in blood relation, but as in with a link to Sydney.
Okay, that kind of relation.
Like, oh, it's the boyfriend's mom, or oh, it's her long lost brother that you never fucking heard about, or her niece. And it's like, why can't it?
Why her niece of all people too?
Yeah,
that was the weird one.
And then I'm like, and I actually liked Scream 4 more than I liked any of the other ones. I loved Scream 4, but that's what I was saying. I was like, if Scream 5. If Sydney, Dewey, or Gail is not the killer, that's a failure of a movie. Like, it has to be one of the three. Like, you have to have those three. Like, Gail is failing in life and needs another story, so she kills everybody to get that story. Or she needs another story, so Dewey goes on a rampage for her to give her a story. You know, so it's something like that. I would and then watch Scream 5 come out, and then that's the exact ending. Everyone's like, "Fuck you, DC." I'm like, "I'm sorry."
Called it. Sorry, man. Not sorry.
Like, I mean, I'll watch any horror movie, and I will freaking call the ending before it even 30 minutes into the movie, and it's like, I like Secret Window. Everyone's like, "Oh, Secret Window had a shock ending," and I'm like, "No, it didn't. I knew it was going to happen 30 minutes into the movie." The only thing, that's why I love The Mist so much.
It's foreshadowed the whole way through that movie too.
It really is. And like The Mist, that's the reason why I liked it so much, because that ending fucking shocked me. Like, Jesus Christ, that's an ending to a movie right there. So, I love
great cast in that movie too. So.
Yes. Oh yeah. And then like 90% of that cast went on to be in The Walking Dead.
Oh my God, you're not wrong.
Yeah, Herschel was in it. Carol was in it.
Not my
Maggie.
number one favorite.
No, not
one,
Maggie.
though.
Yeah, I'm not Maggie. The other one. She was in it. Like, there was so many people from Walking Dead in that movie, and that's because Frank Darabont directed that movie, and Frank Darabont directed and wrote Walking Dead, the first episode. So all of his friends came along with him. It's like,
a lot of directors do that. I've noticed that, where especially when we're going through and watching like the same films, it's like, a lot of directors really do hang on to the same cast and crew. So, yeah. I mean, I guess if you have a repertoire with them, that's what's going to happen.
I mean, and with Frank Darabont, man, that was, if I was doing The Mist, like if that was me marketing The Mist, I would put on that poster from the director of The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. Like, if people will be thinking, oh, it's going to be a nice little drama, and they go in there, what the fuck? Be awesome. And Frank Darabont has a thing for black and white. Like he shot The Mist in black and white. He shot The Shawshank Redemption in black and white. He shot The Green Mile in black and white. So he and the first episode of The Walking Dead was in black and white. But every time he takes it to the producers, are like, no, put it in color. And it's like, come on. So he like has to put everything in color. But
I kept wondering that. I'm like, wait, they were in black.
The Mist you can get in black and white. The Mist has
That's
a black
cool.
and white version. So I have that on the Blu-ray or whatever the hell it is. That Scream should have been in black and white. That would have been dope. I would have loved it.
I realized another thing we failed to do again, like what we did for our Army of the Dead episode. We didn't talk about the life story.
No, that was the Faculty. Well, no, it was Army of the Dead.
No, it was
Faculty.
Army
We
of
had
the
the nerd stuff. I don't remember. I've had concussions.
I mean, this one would be just the high school stuff again, but it's like
that's right. I don't know. That's like
we
could do it like you do like trusting boyfriends and girlfriends.
I was kind of thinking that in my head too. It's like when being backstabbed by your significant other.
Oh my god, yeah.
But I'm like, my worst case scenario, it's like I don't want to talk about it.
I have too many.
I mean, I guess I could talk about the high school one. I can talk. So if you got yours, go ahead. I think I got a good one.
I am like, because I had one that I'm going to be real careful and not name names here.
And I'm going to do the same.
I had one that I was with for like 6 months and she's like, and she would always get phone calls, and I found out what those phone calls were her boyfriend that is deployed, or no, her fiance that was deployed in Afghanistan. And I'm like, what? You have a fiance in Afghanistan? I'm like, holy shit.
You're dating me?
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And she went to the bathroom and I grabbed her phone and I got the guy's number and I bolted and I never went back. But I like called him on the way and I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, bro. Like I had no idea. I didn't know that she was seeing anybody. Whenever you come back, if you want to like throw a punch, I'm like, oh, you only get one other than that. And he's like, nah, man, don't worry about it. I just appreciate you calling. And I'm like, cool, man. And like a year later, I found out they got married and have kids. And I'm like, what a fucking imbecile. I'm like, you're stupid. Women and men that cheat do not change. They're going to keep cheating on you. And then they like lived in the army base together. And I'm like, I guarantee you she has slept with at least 3 of those other guys. There's no way she kept it monogamous. Yeah, no, that was a shock. Yeah, now like, people see why I've only had like 7 girlfriends. I don't trust people.
I've actually had less relationships than you. But then again, I've been with my husband for 16 years. So haven't had to have those opportunities.
No.
Technically, my hubby would be considered a high school sweetheart because I met him when I was a junior in high school. So
never had that. And my high school sweetheart, we're still friends. But yeah, no, she's married with kids now. And he's in the army.
She probably doesn't cheat on him, though.
No. This guy is... Wait. This dude's name is Nate.
It's a common name.
My God.
It's a common name if you think about it. Yeah, that's why it's like, it's fine if people know that my husband's name is Nate because, it's a very common name.
Yeah. But yes, me and him are we're bros. Me and her husband are bros. He doesn't talk a whole lot, and he was at Blockbuster one time with her, and we were chatting it up and everything. And like, she came in the next day. She was like, my husband talked to you for like 20 minutes, and he doesn't talk to anybody. And he's like, so he must like you. And I'm like I was like, we're Eskimo brothers, dude. What do you want? You know? You know, we've been in the same igloo. It's all good.
I was gonna say you're like a social butterfly. You can kind of just fit in wherever you want.
Yeah, but I hate people. How about that? Like, I won't do watch parties, and I'm like in group chats, and I'm like just like signing out. Like, no, I'm not doing this shit. Like, poor Patrick. I feel bad because I enter his group chats and then I just leave. Like, I can't.
You, I think if you were actually in the actual group, you'd be fine. But
I just don't like talking to a lot of people at the same time. Like one on
yeah,
one, I'm
I can
super
get that.
happy. And I'm a social butterfly. Absolutely, as long as I get you one on one. If I'm at a party and there's like 50 people and I'm talking to this person and then I move on to this person and I'm fine. But if I'm in the middle of a group and there's 16 people talking at the same time, I'm like, fuck all of you. I'm like, I don't like this. Like, I'm a one-on-one kind of guy. So, and that's a new thing because I wasn't like that in high school. In high school, I didn't talk to nobody. So I'm like, I wouldn't.
I was basically the same way in high
Yeah.
school. So I guess my one story that I would have would be well, God, how old would I have been? I would have been a sophomore in high school. So I would have been roughly around 16.
Jailbait.
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 And ended up in a relationship with this one guy. Well, back in high school, I didn't do anything risque. Shocking to know how I am now. But and but I just was always serious about my studies, and I was always the type of person
Nerd.
that I was, huh?
Nerd.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely a nerd. But I was always there for my girlfriends, and my girlfriends always came before any boyfriend. I could have cared less about guys. And in fact, I hardly ever dated. My longest relationship before my relationship with my husband was like a 10-month relationship, and it was off and on because I technically couldn't really stand the guy because, very whiny. If he didn't get his way, oh my God, I would have to hear about it for a long time. But anyway, high school boys. So
You know, I'm whiny when I don't get my way.
you don't get right. Fine. How?
I do.
Why?
I get mad.
I thought DC doesn't get mad.
No, I don't.
Calm. DC stays calm.
I get annoyed.
Anywho, so this one relationship I was in with the guy, and so obviously I wasn't having sex with him because I was still a virgin back then. I just didn't have an interest in it. That's just how I was. And which, to each their own, I get what, but the guy could have been a decent guy and just been like, hey, this isn't going to work out. I'm sexually active. I'm not going to be in a relationship with you. No, his decision was that he was still going to be with me because he liked me and he loved hanging out with me because we would watch horror movies together. We'd go and hang out. I would go to his band practices all the time. But his decision was, well, I'm still going to sleep with this other girl on the side. He had no interest in this girl except to have sex with her.
Hell
so
yeah.
It's like at the same time, he's hanging out with me, but he's sleeping with this other girl. And it's like my one friend found out because she was dating his friend. And so it's kind of stupid. Like, obviously he's going to tell my friend and be like, yeah, by the way, or my buddy's like cheating on your best friend. And it's like, ugh. Come to find out that girl had some problems. So I'm glad I wasn't sexually active that time because I probably would have ended up with an STD.
She had something itchy.
Yeah. So karma's on him because he got it. So
yeah. I mean, I'm that guy though. Like, I've had girlfriends that were not sexually interested, sexually active, but I've never stepped out on them. It was always like, well, if we're not going to do this, then I'm out. Sorry. I'm like, I mean, I've been that shallow guy before where it's like, this is important to me.
You're at least being respectful and saying it to her. not like sneaking
but
behind her back and
but I
sleeping
was still
around.
painted as the asshole because it's like, oh, he broke up with me just because I wouldn't have sex with him. And I'm like, well, it's kind of important to me. So like, it's either you get cheated on or I break up with you. It's like, it's something's going to happen because I'm getting laid at some point. That's what's going to happen. So, and it's like, what are you going to do?
Me, I would have rather you been blunt and just leaving me. I could be one of those where it's like, yeah, what an asshole, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, it's like me now older and looking back and knowing it's like, no, if that's important to someone, to each their own, especially as a teenager. Oh my God, if you're sexually active as a teenager, you're horny as fuck all the time. You can't handle your hormones. But at the same time, it's like how dangerous that could have been in that scenario if I would have been sexually active. I would have gotten something. It's like, ugh.
I still got the teenage hormones. I'm horny all the time.
You are horny all the time. Horny all the time. Horny all the time.
People are going to be like, well, how does she know that? It's like,
because I'm your best friend and we talk all the time. It happens. Obviously, certain conversations come up and happen.
And I get like OnlyFans things like, hey, this cool OnlyFans picture. And I'm like, it's great.
Thursday. I'm officially verified on OnlyFans after being on there for how long? So, yay.
Yeah, now you're going to get all the money.
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I don't make anything on OnlyFans. I'm like, the people that will come in and support me, which I appreciate, in that will come in and buy sets, and I love and adore them for that, because I don't do nudes, so I don't expect it anymore. I literally don't expect it.
I mean, it didn't used to be like that. Like it just recently.
It used to be for the art. It used to be.
And it just recently got to the point where if you don't do nudes on OnlyFans, you're not going to make any money. Like it's that's
taking
just
over Twitch now too. It's like, and I wanted to switch to Twitch for the platform and start gaming, but we'll see.
Yeah, Twitch is becoming that. Twitch is becoming that quickly, because it's. I went to Twitch the other day, and just out on a whim, like I'm going to check out the female Twitch thing, see, because Michaela wanted to start something like that. She wanted to start playing Elder Scrolls Online on Twitch and see what she could get with it. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let me go do some research and check out the female Twitch streamers. And there are some serious female Twitch streamers. That's fine.
Yes.
But there are more just women that are wearing bikinis, or women that are just showing cleavage, or then you get deep into Twitch and you get much dirtier things. Like there's full on porn stuff in there. Like, and it's becoming an issue. So she wants to do that, but I'm like, you know.
I mean, honestly, if I was going to be playing video games, hell yeah, you're going to see some cleavage in that. You get to see cleavage here too. So, but I don't know. It's just, I get it with SWs. They got to make a career out of what they need to do. And you know what? It's safer for them. So it's like, it's not one of those things where I'm not upset about it. I understand. And I mean, they're making good money. Yeah, they are making good money. I'm just personally this is me, my opinion. I'm not comfortable with doing nudes and putting my body out there like that. That the people I admire are the cosplayers like Jessica Negri, Misha Mock, and other cosplayers like that, where they're doing loots. They don't do nudes. They're the ones that I admire and look up to. The only difference is that they've had a following since like 2012, and I'm just a little baby cosplayer getting started this year. So I'm not going to make anything.
I'll never see it.
Yeah. So I'm just in the process of trying to figure out how things are going to be changing on my OnlyFans anyways. But I can't plug out a set every week. It's
no. That's kind of oversaturation anyway. But I was thinking about another thing, like another thing we didn't discuss at all,
what is
the next movie
I know the next movie because isn't it my pick? Because
Yes.
yeah, we had Candyman, which was yours. So it's going to be my fourth favorite, which is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay. Well, that's
Everyone knows I love Freddy Krueger.
another Wes
So
Craven.
we're going in line here. Look
Yeah.
how well we are doing it by complete accident. Look at us go.
Yeah, because so like on the next one is like it'll be my pick, but it was like, what are we gonna do for your fifth pick when we've already watched your fifth pick?
I figured we would go to some of the bad movies that we don't like. Or we could go down the list because we did say that every movie that was going to be in the survey that we were eventually going to do.
Yeah.
And my husband really, really wants us to do Event Horizon because he's like, I want to watch that movie now. And I'm like, how have you never seen it? It's
And
like, I don't
and that would be like
know.
really bad because that's easily one of my favorites. And it's like, so that would be like my pick 2 in a row. Because I think, after
as long as we do it. So
after the next one, after Nightmare on Elm Street, and we have discussed this a little bit, is like, we don't know. There's probably going to be a week hiatus where we will not have an episode. So because I will be gone, I will not be in town, and I don't know if my Wi-Fi will be strong enough to do this. So because the wife was like, why don't you just record it when we're at the beach? And I'm like, that would be wonderful, but I don't know if our Wi-Fi is going to be strong enough to do that shit. So I'm
do you know how jealous I would be the whole time watching you on the
I
TV?
probably will take all my equipment and
try it.
Yeah, and try it and see how the Wi-Fi is. So on the one after Nightmare on Elm Street, we may or may not have a episode, but that one I'll go ahead and tell you now is going to be Idle Hands.
I'm so excited for that. It's been years since I've seen it. The last time I've seen it was when it first came out, and I don't remember it. I just like, I can't wait to watch this one again because it will be like a first viewing all over again. So,
and you get with Nightmare on Elm Street next week, you get DC's story of the first movie not just first horror movie, first movie he ever watched, which was Nightmare on Elm Street. And you get a cute story after that because there is an adorable story after that. My mom used to tell me all the time. So it's and it'll also show you how messed up of a kid I was. So
we were all messed up kids. Let's not kid ourselves here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 2 years old. I was 2 years old when I watched A Nightmare on Elm Street. And there's a reason why there has never been in the history of any movie I've ever watched, there's never been a scary movie that's ever scared me. No, I've never been scared one time because it's all fake. I've been uncomfortable, but you'll get the story. It'll be fun times. And then we'll actually talk about the actual life lesson there.
We will be ahead of ourselves. We did good last week. We did it. It's just the one where we're like, oh.
And everyone out there right now is like, well, why didn't they talk about it? We literally talk every day. It's just
this week has been hell for me.
It's been hell for both of us. Like,
I even took a hiatus. You took a hiatus from social media.
Like, yeah. And it's the same shit. Like, your work is killing me. My work is killing me. My school is killing me. It's just like I have school and work, and it's so much stress that it equals up to just about what you deal with at your work. Like, because you have a really, really, really stressful job. And like both of us were just so ungodly stressed
over this last week.
Yeah, we were both ready to take a vacation from each other because we were just like, we are so off this week. And then we just both took it. I deleted my Twitter. I deactivated my account. And I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't. And that's the thing is like we both quit Twitter for 2 days. And it had nothing to do with Twitter.
No. one of those weird things. It literally had nothing. And I think a lot of people had thought it was. And it's like, no, it's just so much in my personal life is going on that it's like, I just can't sit on social media and just try and it didn't even work out for me anyway, because when I came back, I had the double watch party, and then Friday was Joe Bob Day, and it's just like, but yeah,
I don't even get on Twitter on Fridays anymore.
You almost can't, because it's like I'm tagged in so much stuff, which is like I appreciate being tagged and everything, but it is taking over my notifications that if somebody is trying to send me something important or leave me a comment, I literally have to go into my actual Twitter, go to my actual post and go through the comments, because otherwise I miss stuff all the time. So it's like, I apologize if you send me something and I don't respond. I'm not doing it to be mean. One, I took a 2-day hiatus from the thing, and I can't get caught up on notifications anymore. It's literally to that point.
And I'm like, like I get tagged in so much stuff now. I'll favorite it, but honestly, I probably do not ever talk in those little links. I'm like, I can't, man. I have Cassie. I'll talk to her every now and then, my simp sister, like, because she simps my wife. No, what was it? Who was it we were simping over? Trash from Return of the Living Dead. By the way, we have to do Return of the Living Dead sometime soon, because I told Rich we would do Return of the Living Dead soon.
So good. And it is a favorite of mine.
Rich is the hockey player. Yes, that I have talked to him, that you have talked to him through me before. So yeah, Rich, good guy. So we
also have to do it kind of for Shaun of the Thread anyways, because it's his favorite film. So,
yes, I mean, we'll do that.
You got to do it for two guys that are good guys. So
yeah, I mean, there's so many people out there that love that movie, and I actually watched it recently. So I mean, it's just like, it's such a good movie. But me and Cassie, we simp over Trash. Like I love that chick.
Is, oh my God, I looked up to, I still look up to her, because it's
you should do that cosplay. The zombie version.
Before or after?
The zombie version.
I knew it was gonna be the zombie version. The nude version. Yeah.
Here, I'll make it easy on you. You send me the pictures and I'll tell you if it's okay to post on Twitter. Deal? Handshake.
Yeah. No.
Hey, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
Isn't that what they say about the lottery? You can't win unless you play.
Yeah, exactly. And see, right now there's people watching like, I can't believe he just said that to her. Her husband would have laughed at that. So
yeah, people keep forgetting that.
That me and your husband are friends. We talk a lot. And for those who don't know, I hit on you in front of him. He just laughs it off because he knows
he hits on you back.
Yes.
He makes the joke and hits on you back. Yes. I still love that no one really knows who my husband is on Twitter. And you guys talk all the time. And he has purposely put up posts to give hints to people who he is. In fact, he's even posted a picture on one of my Catter Day posts of our cat that I've posted how many times. And I retweeted it. It should be a dead giveaway. This is my husband.
I love it. And like, he'll post some fucking weeb gift to me that is like hypersexual.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, ooh, yeah, I like that. If people only knew, man, like the shit we do, it's hilarious, because like people like see me hitting on you on Twitter, the best was calling you my podcast wife.
That was a big no-no. Apparently, we've joked about that how many times. Apparently people don't watch our show.
Well, it's mainly like people who don't realize that me and Chris from your other podcast, like they don't want you to be with me because you're with him. And I'm like, no, you guys don't realize how important that podcast is. Like how Goth Girl Horror is, honestly, I don't mean it the way I'm making it sound, but it's far more important than this one. Like Goth Girl Horror is very important. Like, and it's an amazing podcast. It's like it makes this one look like amateur hour.
Yeah.
Because Chris is he's a fucking
this is
boss.
our hobby.
Yeah,
this is our hobby where it's like you and I are just good friends talking it up. And honest to God, I should be sitting here with some wine or something. I'm just sitting here with my awkward cup and water. Yeah. And you're not even drinking alcohol, you're drinking pop. So
but really, truthfully, like I edit all of this and all that stuff, but Chris is a fucking boss, man. He is a boss. He is so good at what he does.
Several shows. Yes, several shows. That's the thing that drives me nuts. He has so many shows and episodes that it's like, I could never do that. I could never do that. I admire him for being able to do it and pull it off. I'm happy doing my 2 right now, and I will eventually start my own like personal podcast myself in my own YouTube channel. Yeah. But I have to learn how to do the editing and that. I mean, yeah, obviously I could just do the simple thing we do here where we chop off the front, we chop off the end, but
it's really easy. But I mean, I'll just do that. Like Chris deserves a toast, man. That's he does, dude. Because it's podcast king, dude. He's the man. And I think that's the thing, that whenever I say stuff like you're my podcast wife and shit like that, people think I'm attacking Chris or something. And I'm like, no, dude, in the podcast world, Chris whips my ass. Like he ain't even, I don't even come close to that guy. Like he is so much smarter than me. He's so much more talented. And it's like, I can't. No, that's like, I just say that because you're my friend. And it's an inside joke that whenever we did our first episodes, our chemistry was so good that everyone was like, oh, are you two together?
Everyone thought we were married.
Yeah.
They thought you were my husband. And it's like, I posted pictures with my husband before. Does DC look like my husband?
Well, see, and that's a problem with me, is that you actually, like when you're not wearing makeup, you look so much like Michaela. It's terrifying. Like even Michaela like saw that picture you post, or no, it was
oh, and I loved it when she put her comment. She goes, oh, we look alike.
Yeah, she was, you put that picture and she was like, oh my God, we look alike. And I was like, have you seen her without makeup? And every time like I'm talking to you or something,
now everyone on Twitter finally has. So
yes. Like when I talk about like you to, let's say like Brandon or Laszlo or something like that, everyone always says, well, you definitely have a type. It's like, yeah, big eyes. It's the big eyes. I like the eyes. Hell yeah, dude. So yeah, no, I'm not attacking Chris in any way. Like it has nothing to do with that. It's an inside joke.
It's our inside joke. And then we had the other guy that, well, whatever.
Yeah, that guy blocked us.
he said an offensive comment, didn't reply anything back to him or anything. I just made the decision. I'm like, that was over the line. All I did was unfollow. Yeah. He blocked both me and DC. Like,
dude, it was a weird comment, man. It was a fucking weird comment. But
how dare he be offended that I unfollow him? He says a pretty anyway. I digress. We're getting to that time.
It's Twitter. It's Twitter. People are weird. I mean, we got guys dressing up like Michael Myers, dressed in their underwear.
I'm there for that, though. I am there for that.
That dude, I
could take
that. That dude's a sexy motherfucker. Like stabby time. That dude is a sexy motherfucker, straight up. Yeah. Like I love that man so much. And he asked me to dance in one of his videos once, and because my knee is so fucking shot, I can't. And I'm like, no, I'll do anything but that. Like
it's just bad dancing. You could just be there like this.
Yeah. I'll be in a wheelchair.
Do it. Do it. Do it. I'm in it. We're waiting for more people so that we can make that video. So do it.
Oh. I don't know. I love that man so much. He's like, and too. It's like whenever he retweeted me one time a while back, and I said, man, when one of your heroes retweets you, and he was like, wait, I'm your hero? And I'm like, dude, you make the best fucking videos. Like, I love that shit. He's awesome.
I don't think he realizes how much we adore and admire him. And I appreciate how many videos he's included me in on. And I love working with him. And I can't wait to see what the future brings for him, because he's so creative and he's got these amazing ideas that he wants to do. And I really hope that this one idea that he came out and told us, I'm not going to give it away. It's his. That's not mine to give away. But I hope someday he can actually do this, because it is a phenomenal idea. And I would love to, I mean, I would love to be a part of it if he can actually get it off the ground. So
shit, I told him if he ever needed Deadpool, I'm your guy. Because I've got a Deadpool mask. Like, you need someone who could do a Marky Mark impression, or a Mark Wahlberg, or a Matthew McConaughey, or Elmo, or Kermit. Like, I could do some Elmo. I can get my voice way too high. And like, and if you want me to do so, I got a movie realistic Deadpool mask. I was like, I can be Deadpool. Like, but other than that, like, I don't really I don't have much talent. I can juggle.
Well, and you can slurp that down.
Beer.
But I want to thank you all for joining DC and I as Darcy Lux, or Charcy the Mail Girl. And then we have our DC Bob over there.
Yeah, DC Joe Bob DC, whatever you. There's not a good one like Charcy the Mail Girl. But I had the whole thing. Check it out. Bam. There's a little twigglies. Oh yeah, I went all out with it. I am not wearing jeans or boots though, because it is hot. And when the camera stops,
nobody sees our below anyway. So
this is coming off when this camera stops rolling because it's hot. No one sees it, but it's like I've done this show with no pants on before. It'll be fun.
But we want to wish Darcy a huge happy birthday. We hope you have a fantastic day, a fantastic birthday month, and everybody, thank you for joining us, for watching Scream. Like we always say, please leave us comments. Just kind of give us any feedback that you can. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can follow us on our Twitters. Mine is Charcy Lux. I also have an Instagram that's Charcy87. And of course, like and subscribe on here. And DC, where can they find you?
Usually at home in bed. Oh, you mean online? I was at Death Curse Pod on Twitter. I have an Instagram. It's Death Curse Podcast, but I never use it. Like, so if
Not
you
anymore.
follow me, you're not going to get any content. Because I'm just, no. I'll do Twitter. I'll keep to my 3,500 followers on Twitter and not my 70 followers on Instagram. It's too hard. Unless you're a woman, you cannot get followers on Instagram. So I'm like, nah, I'm good.
You could prove DC wrong and go follow him on his Instagram.
I need to be popular.
That sounds like a problem. I need attention too, but for all the wrong.
That's all you have to do, and you get attention. Like, that work? Anybody?
It's working. It's working.
All right.
All right. Well, once again, that face right there, that's what works right there.
Howdy. I get a little Bruce Campbell in there. Howdy.
Well, thank you once again for joining us on this little channel of ours and watching Scream with us. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. And once again, happy birthday, Darcy.
Bye.